guys, welcome back. This is our Femme Friday, and today we are talking to Miss Jessica Reed, aka Coco J, aka soon to be Bargain Barbie. So today and going forward on Fridays, I like to give you guys an inspirational woman, that either someone that I know personally or someone that is out there just killing it. And I basically have known Jessica since high school. So Jessica is currently a licensed vocational nurse, aka LVN, who is also getting her master's degree in health administration. Is that right?
Oh, well, master's in business administration, healthcare management.
Hey, watch out now. So she's going to talk to us about basically how she got there, what her journey looked like. And hopefully this will inspire some of you guys if you're thinking about going into nursing or really just trying to figure out, how you can fit into the industry. There's just some really creative ways to go about it. And I think Jessica's story is just really awesome. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys, for listening.
So I'm Jessica Reed. I'm a nurse. I work at Kaiser in urgent care. I come from a Nigerian background. Both my parents are from Nigeria, had an arranged marriage, and they both immigrated from Nigeria to California. And I feel like as I've gotten older, a lot of first generation immigrants have the same story or a very similar story, where their parents come to America and they want their children to be a doctor or a lawyer, because they're so worried about their kids and they don't want their children to struggle. So my story is the same. My parents wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. So I said, okay, that's fine, cool, I'll be a doctor. I ended up going to UCLA, and so I started off pre-med, okay, I won't be an OBGYN, but I can try and be something else. There's plenty of different doctors out there. But oh no, going from Blair High School, almost got shut down twice our senior year, you know what I'm talking about, okay?
Yeah.
To UCLA, one of the top sciencey type of colleges.
Yeah.
It was looking
night
at
and day.
A foreign language. I was like, oh, chemistry, what? What are we doing? So I definitely had my dreams shattered. Okay, I'm not gonna be a doctor. It's not gonna happen.
Being that you felt unprepared, I imagine, by the time you started taking those classes, what was it that kept you from giving up? How did that feel in that moment when you're getting your grades back and you're oh shit, what did I do?
Basically. I think my personality is just a type of personality of a hard worker. I already knew, and I know that if I want something bad enough, I have to put in the work. I have to put in the blood, sweat, tears, and everything into what I want. It's not going to just be handed to me.
Right.
And I think that's, one of the good qualities that my parents, being strong African parents, instilled in me, and I really took it and ran with it. And I tried everything. I went to the tutoring sessions. I found the smartest kid in class and was trying to study with them. Hey,
let's
are you going to the library? Let's go to the library together. So I tried it all, but that's just how life goes. So sometimes what you think is for you is not really for you. Just because your parents want it bad enough for you doesn't mean that that's your path, and that's even if I was good at it, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to make me happy in the end. I have to kind of walk my own path.
How do you feel you were able to get through that moment?
Man, it was so scary once I finally realized okay, I'm not going to be a doctor, but what am I going to do with my life? Because growing up in a strong African family, there really was no other plan B. Okay, if you can't be a doctor, do this. If you can't do that, do this. So it was really just this or nothing at all. So that really hit me hard. And on top of that, I'm a firstborn. So that was also another like added layer of pressure. So I remember I was like spiraling out of control, like, oh my gosh, like, when am I gonna tell my parents? I had like so many sleepless nights. So man, I just kept that to myself for a good 2 years of college. And at that point, at the end of the second year, you have to declare a major.
Right.
So I just went to my counselor. I was like, counselor, these are the credits I have. What major?
What can we do with
exactly.
this?
What are we gonna do with this? What major?
What can we do?
Can I declare so that I finish on time?
Yeah.
In 4 years, like, you tell me, what are my options here?
Right.
Right. So that's basically how I got my major. Not because I was like, oh my God, I'm so passionate about it.
Right.
After I graduate from here, I know my next steps and what I'm gonna do. No, it was like all up in the air, like, Lord, take me,
make a way.
So I finally had to declare my second year. I had to break it to him, like, I'm not gonna be a doctor. It is what it is.
So what was your major then when you...
My major was African American Studies with the psych concentration.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, this is what it's gonna be.
I hope you're
Please
proud.
love me. But then, I moved back home. I really had to take that time and figure out what I wanted to do, because at that point I realized, okay, that's what my parents want me to do, but what do I want to do? What's going to make me happy? So I was kind of in like a limbo. Like, I got a job at an insurance company doing, like, it was like a workers' comp assistant in Pasadena. And I mean, the job was cool, but it was just kind of to have my own money, because I'm not really the type to just kind of sit around and like do nothing. Like, I like to work. I like to, have money coming in my accounts.
Right. You know, we got a life
if
to
I
live.
want to do
and you
something,
need money to live it.
yeah, exactly. If I'm trying to, save up my money and figure out my next steps at the same time. So then it was my mom actually who suggested nursing. She's like, okay, it's still in healthcare. It's a very good career, but, it's good. You don't have to be in school, for half of your life.
Right.
Because that was also another thing. Like, I ain't trying to be in school for 15 years.
Girl, I was pre-med, and then I said, how long and doing what? All right. Guess that's not the path for me.
Right.
Not for me.
So she's like, okay, yeah, it's only a few years. So I was like, okay, like, I'll try it. So I went to PCC, like, I did the little prerequisites, and she's like, oh, since it's a completely new career for you, it's good for you to start from the bottom.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, like, I have no problem with that. So I went and got my CNA. I took some of those classes, and I was like, okay, like, this seems cool. Like, this seems interesting. Like, I care about people. I like taking care of people. So I was like, okay, this could be a good fit. So, got my CNA, started working with that, and then I was doing, like, night shifts at some, like, home health place. And then while I was working nights, I was going to school in the day to get my LVN. Because my mom, she didn't even want me to go straight to RN. She's like, no, I think this is like a completely new path for you. You should really just start from the bottom and just work your way up. So I was like, okay, like, that makes sense. So, I was working evenings, working nights, and then going to PCC for the prerequisites. And then eventually I got into their program. And then I was in their program, but still, working nights.
Right, yeah, I
to
remember.
build up my resume and build up my experience in the healthcare field. But, also I need to finish school. So I was very busy. I was very, very busy. But yeah, then, I graduated LVN school, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to be a nurse. Like, this is for me. And then at that point, I was also working at Huntington Hospital as a CNA as well after I did my home health stint. So yeah, I had that job at Huntington Hospital, working as a CNA. So I was like, okay, like I like working in the hospitals more than home health. That's my direction. And so then at that point, I had gotten into Kaiser through a temp agency. And so, but the only Kaiser they could put me in was Kaiser South Bay. And I lived in Van Nuys at that time. So that commute was like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, because it was from, I think, like 8:30 to 5 or something like that. So I hit traffic both ways. But I was like, you know what? Keep my eye on the prize. Like, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door at Kaiser. Like, that's all I could do. So then when I started working there, eventually, you know, I got to know all the nurses. I got to know the charge nurses, the lead nurses. Like, oh yeah, you know, if there's any job opening, you know who to call. I've heard stories to get into Kaiser. People have applied for like a year, 2 years. I ain't got that kind of time. Like, if I want to make something happen, I'm gonna find that back door, find the window. Find that little crack.
Right, and just get on in there.
Just kind of suck it in and just
get your way on in.
I'm just that type. Like, I'm not gonna sit back. Oh yeah, let me just sit here and wait for a year. Oh,
people said it, and you know, a lot of people, it's like
drive. Like, it's far.
And with a place like that, a lot of people would just say, "Oh, it's too hard to get in, so I'm not gonna try." You know,
missing out. And so I was just making my little connections, making sure, you know, my body of work was, you know, on point, because even if I got in and I wasn't doing my job very well, I had a stank attitude, like, they're not going to be the first person to recommend me to, you know, get an actual position. So I just did me, you know, worked hard, didn't complain, did what I had to do. I was just lifting those 400-pound patients, you know, wiping booties, you know, doing all that stuff, you know, cleaning up blood, fighting, you know, people, sundowners. I mean, the nursing career is not a glamorous one. But hey, I mean, all these experiences that you have to go through starting from the bottom, it makes you stronger as a person, and it makes you very humble, because when you get to the top, you're so appreciative of what you have, because it can all be taken away from you in an instant. And
so, would you be willing to, like, if you haven't built up that work ethic, what would you do? You know, like, that's such a good point. You know, the fact that if you get to where you are without putting in the work, God forbid something happens. And you know, life is that way. Something will happen. Like, you can't predict like a recession, or you can't predict certain things. But if you haven't done the work to get there, imagine, like, if you cheat your way through life, you know, kind of thing, anything happens to you, you'll fall, you know, because you haven't built up that backbone and that, like, discipline and that work ethic.
That tough skin. You need that tough skin. And those come from scars, honey. At one point, I had interviewed for 2 LVN positions at that Kaiser location. And there was to go and interview, you have to go into one of the HR department rooms, and there was a woman there, and I wish I remembered her name, because she's the reason why I really got into Kaiser. But she noticed me, and she said, oh, you know, I've noticed that, you know, you've been applying for these LVN positions, and you haven't really been getting hired. She's like, yeah, but you know, I there's just something about you, you know, there's just something about you that I really like, and I feel like you'd be a great fit for, you know, the organization. So she's like, you know, I'm just gonna let you know if anything comes up. You know, I'm gonna personally just let you know. So I was like, okay,
see, you never know who's watching. You really never know.
This is the HR lady. This isn't anybody, you know, in the departments I was working in, although, you know, they liked me. This is the HR lady, and she actually had the power to try and get me, you know, the first dibs on, you know, whatever the jobs were. And then there was a job that came up in family medicine, internal medicine at that location for an LVN. And she's like, oh, hey, you know, I think you'd be a good fit. Just interview with this guy. The guy brought me in, interviewed me for like 5 minutes, and was like, okay, whoop, you're hired. And that's where I feel like was laid the groundwork for, you know, where my direction is going now. Because once I got that job, you know, I was really doing, you know, living my nursing life, which was amazing. And from there, I thought, oh yeah, when I'm done with my schooling, I'll go on to RN school, because that's, the most obvious step. Yeah. And but then when I was there, I just saw a lot of things that needed improvement. Because when you're a nurse and you're working with a doctor, you're a team,
right,
for that time being. You have to have some sort of camaraderie,
right,
and you have to,
right,
know each other well, so you guys can work together well and get through your day and see X amount of patients. I worked harder. I made sure to communicate with the doctors, like, oh, it's still my first week. It's my first time working with you. It's the end of our shift. How do you think I did? Is there anything I could improve? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? I made sure to talk to each and every doctor when it was my first time working with them and ask them, hey, what did I do wrong? What can I improve on?
Yeah,
because
that's awesome. Most people don't ask for feedback.
I mean, the more you're used to people kind of give you constructive criticism and giving you feedback, I mean, the better off you'll be in life in general, because that translates no matter everywhere, what career you're in. Yeah. That led me to what I'm doing now, which is more management. Administrative. Yeah, and administrative, okay. Because I was like, my mind is really in tune to trying to correct the system and correct the mistakes and where we've dropped the ball in enhancing the patient experience. Right. Clearly, I don't need to go to RN school to do what I've just discovered I'm good at and what I'm passionate about.
So we were talking about your career, what you do for work, and you've pretty much gotten a handle on figuring what it is you want to do for your career. So what do you like to do for fun? Because for Femme Nouveau, we talk about your work, your play, and your love. So how you figure out balance in your life. So what do you do for play, for fun? What's your thing?
So Bargain Barbie is just my little love child. Hasn't been exposed out into the public yet, but I was just thinking to myself, because a lot of people have told me oh, you look so cute, oh, I love what you're wearing, and especially at church, because that's where, since I don't really go out that much these days, that's where I'm really just dressing up, looking cute and looking fly. So a lot of people at my church are oh, you look so cute. Even my sister-in-law is oh, you spent a lot of money on this, you spent a lot of money on that. And I'm no, girl, this is Ross. Okay? Right. $20.
Thank you.
This is Fashion Nova, $10.
Yeah.
Okay? So I feel a lot of people have always told me, oh, I look so cute, I look so good. And they think I'm spending a bunch of money because it looks expensive. I guess just the way I'm putting it together, I'm just looking, when you have just that air about you, that swag. So, it just looks like you're just spending a lot of money. And really, no, I'm the opposite of that. I'm very frugal, okay? Yeah. And I get that from my dad. I'm quite frugal. I like to watch my money grow in my account. So
instead of leave.
Right, instead of leave. I like to watch my money just... That's probably also one of my favorite pastimes.
I like to watch my money grow.
I like to watch my money grow. Who doesn't?
That's funny.
So I'm very frugal. I love to find a good deal. I love to find a good bargain. And so I was just kind of playing around within my mind, and I was kind of trying to bounce ideas off of you. I think coming soon, I'll just kind of reveal myself on Instagram as Bargain Barbie, and really just sell my secrets, sell my knowledge to some of these people who are breaking their banks for absolutely no reason. You really don't need to break your bank. So I think that way I can really help other people and really just let them watch their money grow in their accounts too.
Right. Thank you. I love that. That's great.
Get the bag and fumble it. I get the tag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the line.